I welcome our viewers at the Red Line Show. Today we will discuss the latest events in the world. Today with me, Halia Babenko, Pasha. My name is Dmitro Klimyuk. And today we will discuss the supply of Western weapons to Ukraine and how it could change the war with Russia.
Yeah, well, maybe not the supply, but the promises of supplies, rather.
No, it's supply. During 2 years, we get more. We get a lot.
We get a lot of weapons, but still, we heard from President of Ukraine that Western weapons are still going to Ukrainian brigades, armed forces. They are still waiting for them. I believe he said about 14 brigades. It's a huge number of military personnel, and they're still waiting for the promised weapons. So we have some appeals, some promises from our partners about like howitzers. From France, we had yesterday a promise of weapon packages, but they're logistically like protracted. No.
For me, it's not protected because we get this weapon at last. So you see, no one in the world is not obliged to give this weapon to Ukraine.
And
the temp of this supply is a question to Western politics and how they want to protect themselves because they decline their own defense.
But these are two counter ideas. So they're not obliged, but still they have to care about it because that's the question of their actual security and
so let's
defense
think about.
industry.
Let's look at this and understand what is their real motivation to protect themselves. It is not that big.
Well, first of all, it's very reasonable to launch, production inside Ukraine and to get contracts with Ukraine, which is definitely set for some, following years during the war.
For me, for example, to make some production in Ukraine is dangerous because Ukraine is all the time is under attack.
Of course.
So
we have this great example of what Baykar, I guess. They have been, cooperating with Ukraine for a long, long time, but still, when it comes to a hell of a big enterprise inside of Ukraine, it's a question of security because we know I would also specify that when we talk about protracted deliveries of weapons, it also comes to some specific weapons. Yes, like F-16. So
Yeah,
we've been hearing a lot, and I understand actually I cannot be really mad when they say and you'll get them soon. Because it's clear that Russia is already lunatic and they have this frenzy about F-16s, to hit the first F-16. That's a big, big victory for Russia. They have already announced how much they are willing to pay for the first F-16. Do you know how much?
No.
Pasha?
No.
You can guess.
I believe a couple of $1 million.
Oh, I like how everyone says dollars. Who said?
I believe 2 packs of pelmenis.
That's closer, actually. So it's not measured in dollars.
In rubles.
In rubles,
Yeah,
yeah. So I guess it's 15 million rubles.
2 trucks of wood.
I don't know how much exactly, but yeah. But I laugh so hard at the fact that everyone says dollars and it's not dollars. You have to keep it in mind.
I'm really pissed off of that F-16 situation because Russians are already ready. They're prepared. They prepared the air defenses to hit down those Western-made planes. S-300, S-400 air defense complexes, they were made to shoot down F-16 planes, not ATACMS missiles, which completely obliterate Crimean air defenses and in the Donetsk region right now. But still, they were deliberately made against F-16. They will try to get them.
They will, but here we again we have to be very careful. Losing an F-16 is inevitable.
Of course, it is inevitable because there will be losses.
You only can keep them safe if you don't use them. So here is the not very pleasant truth, but this does not exclude the fact also that Ukraine has to take care of the air bases for them, because as I'm aware, we are not quite ready, like ready enough, I'd say.
General stuff is better known. I think when we get F-16, it means that we had some facilities that will protect F-16s on the ground. Of course, in the air is another question.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, I only mean ground, obviously. Like the fighting in the air, it's just I can like who can judge any pilot who loses an F-16
And I
in a
believe,
fight like.
yeah, in a dogfight in the air, it is one place, and then I imagine that general's hand and look in the eyes for the mechanic if they lose an F-16 on the ground. You can imagine that like in Mirhorod, there was a hit on Ukrainian airplanes by Russian missile.
Not
What will
Ukrainian
happen?
airplanes, but their wooden.
They confirmed the loss of one completely combat-ready plane, Su-27, and a couple of junk planes. So it was there. Can you imagine that look in the eyes from general staff to the commander of the airbase if that happens?
Oh, actually, yeah, like
I don't think that something will happen if it will happen because it is war.
Yeah,
Because for example, on the example of Mirhorod, there was reconnaissance drone of Russian.
Russian reconnaissance drones. There was lack of air shields for planes on the ground.
What could the general in airport do with these reconnaissance drones?
Hit it with air
maybe
defenses?
he only.
But there are restrictions in their use, not restrictions in a number of rockets. Because if you hit down all the reconnaissance drone, then there are no missiles for hitting the
Probably, but still, an
Iskanders.
airbase is. I guess it is a strategic facility,
So what?
and it should be protected by air defenses in the first place, like airbase.
You see, it should be protected, but there are many airports in Ukraine, and if you hit by 10 kinjals in one place, there are no such air defense system who intercept
which can intercept that.
all the missiles which hit it in this in one or another point.
I see your point. But still, you remember the conditions for the F-16. We've been promised that you don't have airplanes, air bases capable for F-16. They will not fly from those. They are of low quality. You have to build new landing strips for them. It's all sounds like bullshit because you can build from concrete a landing pad, I believe, in a month or two.
Two very opposite sides. So one part of people says oh, you have to make everything from scratch. You cannot use it. And then turns out you actually can. If you really try. And we've seen, and not once, that Ukraine has rearranged a lot of things that people did not believe was possible.
Yep.
Like the fact that when our soldiers, I cannot say that we are geniuses at this point. I actually can. But we've done a lot to make things work that nobody expected to. There are a lot of different examples. I think F-16 could be one of them.
Example, yeah.
Yeah, and we see how Ukrainian soldiers go to the training, and instead of 6 months, they actually learn everything they need to, to use it in the nearest future. Yeah, maybe they do not become the greatest ones to use it, but they do not have the time and resources for it, so they learn this stuff in a few weeks or 1 month instead of 3 months. Still, it's very important. But by the way, so we see I'm happy to see that Europe, Western allies, they actually understand it at this point. They see that actually we can do a lot of things faster, more efficiently and stuff. But you see, so when we say we do not have enough missiles or stuff to defend the air bases and blah blah blah, once again, you can think about the fact that the West could help us to do so, which Zelensky has been, reiterating day by day in the recent week. And Scholz once again rejected the idea to shoot down missiles and drones
Oh, let
over
me guess.
Ukraine.
It will cause escalation, right?
Well, let's see. That's very easy to predict, obviously. But let's see what he said. I see a consensus that such steps are out of the question, and the United States has also made this very clear.
So
The same United States who actually said that we can adjust to the circumstances. So I would not make statements that see it as a final approach, probably.
but
That's because Kharkiv offensive is like halted at the point.
Russian Kharkiv offensive,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. But, you know, if it wasn't, I don't know, we could have adjusted to some things.
I want to say that USA will face the great political tsunami in the end of this war this year.
And you can even hurt your ear in this tsunami.
Yeah,
Be careful.
yeah, and that's why USA is very safe, not safely, but it's doing in some safe manner. So not
Isolation manner, let's be
okay.
like,
Yes,
you know, it always comes and goes, and now it's here again. This like
and all the European countries could do in a proactive manner, but they don't.
well,
and-
we've heard the phrase that we need some bold decisions a lot of times. Like that's something we can all agree on, I think, though we disagree on a lot of things. But I think that's the one, like, which is very reasonable.
What do you mean, like a bold decision? Is that shoot down all Russian missiles over Ukraine, or you mean transferring F-16s finally to Ukraine?
Yeah, like it's difficult to talk about bold decisions when we still do not have F-16s here.
They were promised like a year ago.
I don't know. Many people say that Europe is suffering from, you know, bureaucracy.
Oh,
stuff.
that's a bad disease. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like whether that's the reason. Maybe there is something we are not aware of, and we really do not understand how much it takes to actually deliver all of this stuff. And once again, I do believe that we still have the problem of air bases. I do not think that they are perfectly arranged at this point. Like maybe that's the reason. Like it's not very difficult for me to believe in it. And it's just like, you know, you say like, oh, what this person is supposed to do, yeah, to protect it. I think it's more of a systematical, you know, like problem. Like it's a system
I
protecting air bases.
I remember I talked with some military experts a year ago when the first talks about F-16s began, and military experts from NATO said that, for example, NATO could use their air bases in Romania.
Yeah,
In Romania.
but to keep them outside of Ukraine.
Yes, but there are another problem that so it's mean like Ukrainian pilots on with Ukrainian techniques, but on Romanian, for example, airplane.
Maybe we should play football with Romania again, and then we will have more F-16s on the air
We would not
bases.
be able to witness it again.
Well, I believe we can arrange some football matches or maybe a box competition, yeah, with Romanian athletes.
In a week, Olympics
Oh.
will begin, and then we will get F-16s.
Oh,
So-
probably.
Yeah.
You remember the war against Ukraine, the full-scale invasion started after Beijing Olympics in 2022, like it was 2021 slash
It's always
2022.
it's always intertwined with the
With
Olympics.
the Olympics.
Like this is actually sometimes it's like one of my Roman empires. I'm like, oh wait,
The Hitler.
every conflict is like
yeah.
somehow related to Olympics. like-
First, there was Berlin
And all the
Olympics,
co-
then 2014 Olympics in Sochi, and the war started against Ukraine. 2022 Beijing Olympics and
2008 invasion
Georgia.
in Georgia.
Yeah. So they are like focused on that.
No,
Yeah, but
no,
it's like-
I don't think so.
I will just like say like we can only guess here, yeah, conspirology and stuff, because yeah, a lot of people are trying to figure out what Putin has in mind. I'm not going to do that. Like, sorry, I am like mentally not prepared for that deep dive. But it's just like it should be noted, I think, that every time like you see an aggressor invading a country and then the Olympics, well arranged, with a nice picture and this like unity of athletes, it is able to make people forget about the invasion, about dying people. And
You know, in today's context, the main problem of majority of people in the earth is the problems with airports and IT problems.
yeah, like, oh, by the way, Russian like propaganda figures, they're very proud to not be a part of this, problem.
But T-Mobile
Because
is
Yeah,
not-
because they
have-
have developed their own stuff.
like a sanction, not circumvention, but how they call it, like when you do something, a piece of shit that like works or not works, and like you say, wow, we did it, we outmatched America. How they
Yeah.
call it, yeah.
Yes, but at the
Are
same
you
time,
really asking, or like I was getting ready that he was like,
I think it was sarcasm.
yes, yeah, that's the
We,
point.
we need this.
You have to try harder because I was getting ready to
we,
answer.
Well-
we need the tape, some
Yeah,
list,
like this
list
placard
yes,
that
yes.
says placard like in the Big Bang Theory.
and
Yeah.
all of us allowed to use to
To
use,
use it, yeah, at least like we can have a
three,
limit.
three challenges as in tennis.
Yeah.
So we've returned to the topic of,
Yeah, let's
deliveries.
Go, like, yeah, let's go back to the topic, and I will just
Because our viewers, they've chosen this topic, and we will stick to. We will try.
yeah, we are full pro-democracy.
Like Viktor Orban, right?
Yeah, but we may have great arguments before the podcast. We were like, no way they chose. But yeah, we respect your decision. So about deliveries, let's talk about French package, because we all know about F-16. But what did France promise us? Macron, to be
Troops.
precise. Okay, that's too far. We all knew it was just, muscle playing, showing off. Maybe.
You
at
know,
least for now.
You know, someone in Kremlin have brown underpants after this.
Maybe.
These muscles games.
I do not think that the guy in the Kremlin needs that statement to have brown pants.
For example, maybe 2 more bottles of vodka were drinking.
Yeah. So, Macron announced French Mirages, like the fighter jets. So, but have you heard any, elaborated information on them?
On French, airplanes, Mirages. That we
Yes,
promised?
fighter jets.
I mean, they probably are now undergoing some training.
Do you think that that process has already started?
I don't know.
We haven't heard, like, just look at, like, that's my way of asking you how much it will take us to actually get to the news about training and how much. We don't even know how much planes there will be, how many pilots, how much time they will need to train. So
I don't think that we will get some France airplanes, because we could get Gripen from Sweden, and we didn't get
we
again.
them,
also promised them.
and we didn't get them.
Now
only
they're
becau-
like postponed, I guess.
We have no
because of F-16s.
decisions, and Swedish, what an aspect of Swedish people, they like fulfilling their promises. Okay, so when they say something, they
Sweden has not like. I didn't doubt them.
do. Have
So-
you seen
so-
Swedish
so-
cars?
About Gripen from
Why
Sweden.
is Pasha always like?
Because
he always
I'm a
has
man.
this. Oh my God.
Yes, and you
Not
see,
the gender
have you
stuff at
have you
this,
seen
podcast,
have
no.
you seen Volvo cars? They got bankrupt because they were too good. You mean people just stopped buying new Volvo cars from Sweden and they gone bankrupt?
I hope you're showing my face when he's talking about
And
cars.
that's why I believe that Sweden is not promising us those fighters right now, because they will keep their promise if they say we will
They
deliver them by this day.
Yeah,
and
I'd
the
rather. Sorry, Tim. It may be disappointing to hear at this point. Oh, Gripen will come later, but I'd rather like this one and some details when they will come, and they are postponed than mirages that are just like actually a mirage. I'm
Oh,
sorry for this
I mean,
play of words, but
you know, French language is quite, if you say, ambiguous, metaphoric, and we might have translated it wrong.
it's just really like so. Like he just promised them, and like I don't see anything about them
Yeah,
at
like
all.
have high 5-5 and Mirage plane. Give me a 5.
No.
Why?
Yeah, Dima, you
Dima,
wanted
give
to
me a
say
five.
something.
Okay, Gripen planes. Sweden promised it to us, but we reject this promise because we had pilots and engineer only for one plane, and the decision was between F-16s and Gripens. And of course, if we could get F-16s from many countries and Gripens only from Sweden, our general staff decided to
Go for F-16, yeah.
not go, but wait for a long time for F-16s and not to get Gripen for a short time. But we will see in the future how this decision will change the war. But what could change the war right now is allowing of using Western weapons on the deeper in Russian territory. For example, today.
Yeah, we remember like Belgium forbid from striking Russia from the F-16 planes they transferred to us, but the Netherlands allowed to use all of the arsenal inside Russia.
We can use, for example, ATACMS and some
Storm Shadow missiles, yeah.
storm shadows right now. So just one word, and we will, and more of them will go to the Russian airplane bases in the deepest Russia, not in the civilian infrastructure, but
like air bases.
because it will be 10 or 100 drones, and then 2 storm shadows, and we will not heard these terrible words like Savasleika, Alyensk, or something else. All of them, I wish will be destroyed. Because
Wiped out.
Yeah, like
They can cut it out, and like Ukrainian Nazis are going to wipe out Russian cities. It's
with
perfect.
American
it's
weapons.
not
Yeah.
cities. It's not cities. It's a villages with 300 peoples.
But they are good Russians, Dima. What? How can you say that? You're not human in my eyes.
you know,
anymore.
they say the war will stop if you stop shooting, but the war can end if you...
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. I think that
I'm
the war
so
can
sorry.
end when you shoot the air base, which shoots at you. So
You can the war is ended when you stop shooting. But when the victim stops shooting and the
And
aggressor doesn't, that's not how you end the war.
The war will end it when you should stop shooting and the Kremlin is firing.
Yeah, like if it's like that,
It's
we
okay.
can consider
Oh,
it.
I've heard from one fortune teller from Khmelnytsky. She said, the war will end in 6 months, or it won't.
Yes,
So
it's
The same prediction like we had about the weather in Ukraine. When it's not this hot, it's gonna be colder.
Yeah.
It is. She was not.
She
She
was
did
not
not lie. Like I mean,
So it's the same with you stop the war and stop shooting, and we
yes,
will
and you can see like we got the ATACMS.
atoms.
No,
Yeah.
they will not.
Strikes with
They will never see me as an expert anymore after this. I am so down in their eyes. Yeah, so we got that. I will be like, no, I'm
You
gonna,
came to my level.
I'm gonna stick to my Biden philosophy. So who watched the previous podcast knows that I forgot the word pastor, and I said church guys. And just like 2 days later, Biden says black man.
the black man from
The
Pentagon.
black man from Pentagon instead of Lloyd Austin. We are on the same level. I'm just like the US president, except for the fact he's not in his best shape.
Except the first, you hadn't COVID, I hope.
No, I do not have COVID. Yeah, but I do believe he will manage, probably.
That after we say managed, just I've seen that the leader of Vietnam has just passed away. He was 80 years old.
That's unexpected.
Yeah.
Did you expect in the topic of
No.
Western supply about
No,
Western?
you see why you should watch us and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You never know what you will hear here. Like, it was
It will be not about Ukraine, not about
it was
Western.
arms supplies, and now it's about Vietnam.
I mean, Putin went
I mean, it's
to
his
North
name?
Korea and
he died.
in Vietnam.
And he died. That's
Yeah, that's a coincidence, but I believe they
Novichok?
communicated about some supplies to Russia from Vietnam and from North
most
Korea.
definitely. But here's the sad part that because we talk about dictator states, nothing's gonna change. If they had like probably
Insult.
if they had some kind of like an agreement or they were approaching it, it will probably be like inherited by the next Vietnam guy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
still we like to sum up, we don't need a whole lot of Western supplies right now because we have a lot of Western weapons. They've been providing us. We need to lift restrictions.
Lift
on their
restrictions and
use.
maybe tempo. I don't like if that's possible. It's more about tempo at this point that it arrives in time to Ukraine, and yeah, restrictions. Because as I said, like it's like with just like with F-16s. If you don't use them the way you're supposed to use, but you preserve them and you maintain them,
There will be no use of them. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, but I want to remind another point about using Western weapons is about Congress, U.S. Congress, who asked the Pentagon about transferring of Western supplies from Russia to China, so China could understand how to destroy American weapon. So it could be also the point why Westerns don't want to transfer some
Yeah,
weapon
another
to Ukraine.
fact that they actually can figure out some of the technologies they are not supposed to. I think that's also an issue sometime. Also, I don't know if that's correct to say, but even like being still within Ukraine, we know that like in the east of Ukraine, still some technologies may go to the wrong hands. Like
Yeah, because
but-
we hit eastern Ukraine
Yeah.
and we hit Crimea with those ATACMS.
like
and
the occupied territory full of like like the
And they
territories
claim-
that were backed by Russians.
I've seen already claims by Russian propaganda that channels that they've recovered an unexploded ATACMS missile, which was hit down by air defense, allegedly Russian. It was like a
On
small
the
hole
land.
in that. Yeah, it fell to the ground and did not explode. They can now examine the electronics. of
But
that.
still, like, is that like
I
it's
see no sense
inevitable.
because ATACMS was developed in 1980s.
well, first of all, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
about the cutting edge technologies, like cutting edge, like
Yeah, like
just
now Australia has developed its own hypersonic missiles.
Don't defend
Hypersonic.
Australia.
Even North Korea has its
No, not hypersonic. I mean, like Australia is a peaceful country. They are developing their own weapons. So
Because they are
United
not
States.
Everyone
China.
who is smart enough is
Yeah,
developing.
I mean, United States and Australia, as far as I know, they have confirmed hypersonic weapons, really hypersonic weapons, not that Kinjal of Russia's, that is simply a very fast ballistic missile, but real hypersonics that can penetrate almost any air defense in the world. And yeah, it's not those missiles, it is ATACMS, subsonic missiles, I believe, of 1980s that have been widely used by United States in Iraq, Kuwait during the war in the Gulf. Like it's old tech.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not that important when everyone still goes back to nuclear weapons.
Ah, yeah, we forgot it's
know?
about escalation.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. It all goes back to nuclear weapons.
well, we have the nuclear weapon.
and
yeah.
it's inevitable when you So, when there is no war, yeah, you're like, we have to preserve this, we have to keep it discreet and stuff. When it's an actual war, how can you prevent the fact that, your missile will land somewhere and they will have it to actually look into it and know all the details?
There's no way.
That's the first question, and it's rhetoric, obviously. The second one, I think we should mention the fact that Polish, investigative journalists figured out that, there are their spare parts in Shahed drones.
Oh,
And they're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, how is that possible? So, first of all, before you say, oh my God, we gave weapons to Ukraine, now they have this this is the highlight of this podcast, me not being able to pronounce the word
Atacams.
I did it. I just
We will put
yeah, you can edit it and make it worse.
Yeah,
Thank you.
also-
I know you will only make it worse.
Russian missiles are up to 80% made of Western components. so-
Yeah, let's start with this one. It's not it's not about war and
And they are
Ukraine
made-
using your weapons. It's about you providing these spare parts to Russia in the first place. Sorry, you cannot just get rid of this thought.
and most of these missiles were made in after February 2022.
Yes,
It's
that's,
not-
That's
it's
the
not-
point. It's not about something that was made in the 90s.
Or before full-scale invasion. Yes, and this is so.
Yeah, we won't even don't even get me started on the period from 2014, 2022. When you didn't even acknowledge the fact it was the war and not Ukrainian people who want to live with Russia. So
On the occupied territories.
yeah.
So, okay, I think that it will be enough for today. I think that in a next episode we will talk about another weapon supplies. For example,
Intriguing.
intriguing.
Which one?
F-16s.
Again?
We all wait for F-16s.
Unexpected.
Unexpected. Okay, F-35. No one expects this.
Yeah.
Even
Probably.
even our general staff.
Yeah. Probably yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? Maybe our next episode will be in 2 years, and it will be about F-35.
Interesting.
Well, Dima, let's talk about Mirage first, okay?
Okay, okay. We will pass through this desert of our jokes, and
It's
That
the
was a-
ocean of jokes,
was
not
a-
a desert.
it's a desert. And
I don't know whether I should cry or laugh at this point.
You couldn't cry because it's a desert.
You should at
All-
lose
all your-
moisture.
all it is weaponized. Yes, yes. I'm going deeper.
You should go and start writing poems, not podcasts.
Okay,
Probably.
I figure it. So I ask our viewers to subscribe on our UATV channel, comments our topic, because you choose this topic and we try to discuss it as we
You
understand it.
inflicted this on you. I'm so sorry.
And subscribe to our UATV channels. See you soon.